Mac by Mark Morrison. Old cut. I think it's been re-released. I heard something on radio the other day using it. But Return of the Mac. Let me tell you something, guys. Um, Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me just get this straight. All right. Good morning, guys. You ever had one of those mornings where you're just not feeling it? Yeah, that started like yesterday evening. I was sitting down and I was thinking, I said, you know what? And I realized that one of the things that when you have ADD, before I get into that, let me do this first. Let me get everything out of the way. I can get into that conversation. Say, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, author, and educator. And this is the From Gigolo to Jesus platform. I pray everything is well with you. Thank you for showing up and rocking out with me. And every day, Monday through Friday at 9:30, after I have a chance to do my clubhouse thing in the morning, I sit in with the business group in the morning and maybe one or two other rooms, but I try not to get sidetracked. And then once I do that, I come on here to have a conversation with you and hopefully try to bring some type of value to your life. And that's what I try to do here and to try to have some conversations. Well, with all of that said, I try to make things entertaining. So here's what we're going to do today. Today is a literary show. Yes. Today we are going to be talking books because I am an author. So I normally talk about the crisis specialist part and I will mention the educator part. I'm going to talk about the literary part today. But before that, I need you to like this. I need you to share this. And I need you to tag 3 people because we're going to be talking about 3 different books today. 3 different books, but they're all connected. Let me just say that. 3 different books, but they're all connected. So tag 3 people. Okay? And just gear up, buckle up, and all of that. Now, let me give a shout out to the sponsor. First of all, shout out to Chef Danielle Moore, owner and operator of Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food Kitchen at 497 Albany Avenue, Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Check her out at Danielle Chef Moore on Facebook and BK Chef Danielle on Instagram. Make sure you check her out. And again, I'm going to tell you why. Why? One, because she is a sister who has grinded her way into her own location. From selling out her house, from selling out on the street to everywhere, hustling, grinding. And now she has her own spot with her own investments, as well as she went out there to secure the funding needed to do the things that she needed to do to put her business in place. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because often we talk about having more Black-owned businesses. Well, here is one. This is a sister that you can get behind. I'm going to tell you why you can get behind. One, I know her personally. And I can tell you she is down to earth, she is nice, she's caring, and she's supportive of others. She gives to others, myself included. She is a big supporter of what Tiff and I do, and you cannot beat that. Second, she's a hell of a chef. I have experienced the food, and her desserts are out of this world. Her food is hitting. So I can tell you that. And 3, she is a sister of color. Now, why should that make a difference? I love everybody, but when it is someone who looks like me trying to push through the veil that many would put up in this country and try to keep folks who look like me from achieving, we have to find a way to keep those folks in business. Have to. And the reason why is because you're talking about somebody who is taking the risk and putting themselves out there. The business could be a success, it could fail, but she has put her name on it, her mother's name on it. We need to support that. Okay? So when you get by Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food Kitchen, 497 Albany Avenue, Brooklyn, Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, make sure you speak to Chef Danielle. Tell her Keith K.L. Belvin sent you. Also, have a conversation about the bench. And when you say the bench, yes, the bench. Have a conversation about the bench, and she will tell you about the blessing of that bench and how the elders around her have allowed the ancestors to pour through them into her to let her know that she is doing what she is supposed to do. So I am telling you right now, if you are not rocking with Chef Danielle, you should, because we got a lot of folks out here who cook food. I am not knocking any of them. I know quite a few chefs, but this one right here is one we have to protect because she is doing it, doing it, and doing it. Almost broke into a LL Cool J, doing it and doing it anyway. So again, shout out to Chef Danielle, and let's make sure that we support her. Okay, so you've tagged your 3 people, you've liked this, you shared this. All right, now let's talk. You guys know that I'm an author, right? I've written 5 books: A Man in Transition, From Gigolo to Jesus, A Lukewarm Saint, Our Bond is Our Gift, and The Choice, a love story. I have written fiction, nonfiction, poetry. I've written a memoir, and I've written self-help. Okay? Kind of matches when you have ADD. So I was telling you earlier, when you have ADD, sometimes what happens is, and let me just give you what that is. When you have attention deficit disorder, not ADHD, I don't have hyperactivity disorder. They added that. Late 60s, 70s, even early, they added hyperactivity disorder because they said that children who have ADD are actually hyper. We're not. And I refused, and no one tried to give me medication. I just got in trouble. And I had to learn how to work with it. Well, here's the thing. Once I was able to diagnose what I had, I realized that it wasn't a negative. It was actually a gift once I learned how to use it. And all the ADD means, or all attention deficit disorder means, is that I can pay attention to many things at the same time. Often even when I don't want to. So I could be talking to you and I'm listening to something else and I'm watching something else. And often what people will say is pay attention. When in actuality, I am paying attention, but I'm paying attention to everything else, which can make it seem like I'm not paying attention. And what I found in the classroom as an educator is that many other educators did not educate themselves on what ADD was. And so when children were kind of all over the place, they would literally just get at them in such a way that the kids would get frustrated and shut down, because a child gets tired of being told, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, when they actually can't control it to a degree, or no one taught them how to control it. So once I was able to diagnose myself, and once I was able to get help, and once I learned how to focus, I learned how to convey that to children with sometimes just simply putting your hands up over their eyes, depending on how small they are, so they can just see you and say, hey, look at me, look at me. Here's what I need you to do. And what I'm doing is blocking out the other things that the kid may want to pay attention to. Also, using those children as a way to give them extra things to do to keep them busy so that doesn't become a behavior problem. Now, you may say, what does any of this have to do with your literary writing and everything else? Well, let me tell you, having written 5 books, I've also been a part of one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 anthologies. I actually didn't realize that. Actually, 9. I'm sorry, 9 anthologies. Some that will remain nameless. We are not going to put a name to them because it was a horrible decision to be part of those books. But anyway, now an anthology is simply a collection of stories put into one book. Most of the time, when done correctly, that book has a theme. And in that theme, every author writes to that theme. They're asked to write to that theme. And then hopefully you now would have, say, 10, 12, 15, 20, 80, 90 stories to choose from, depending on how the book is published and how the book is created. Okay. So what I want to talk about today, what I'm super, super, super excited, is about the Soul of a Man series. The Soul of a Man series is a series of books created by Elise Gabriel. Shout out to Elise Gabriel, Peace in the Storm Publications. She put out a clarion call back in 2009, asking for men of color to come and write stories of men overcoming negative situations through their faith. Now, they could be fiction or they could be nonfiction. She gave us the option. So back in 2009, I had released my first book in 2008, had wrote the book in 2007, my poetry book. But I had been writing other stories, but they were all erotic stories. And I wrote erotic poetry. But once I had changed my life and made changes, I was like, I can't write erotic stuff and serve the Lord the way I'm trying to. And so I said, you know what? But I still enjoy writing, and I believe that I had a career as a writer. So when I saw the advertisement on social media that Elise was looking for authors for this book, something inside me said, do it. Now, here's the problem. Just because my spirit said do it, I was very uncomfortable. I wasn't sure. I was scared. And fear is a paralyzing thing. And I was like, what if my work is not accepted? What if they don't like it? I went through all of the things that somebody could go through, not realizing that I had published a book myself, created a publishing company for myself, had been on numerous um, blog talk and radio shows, interviews, and stuff like that. So imposter syndrome was in full effect, guys, full effect. And if you understand what I'm saying, if you get what I'm talking about, please put a 1 in the chat room, because it is important that you understand that, because imposter syndrome attacks those on higher levels. It attacks people on lower levels too. But when you're on a higher level, you start automatically thinking of different things from your own position as whatever. Most time as a successful whatever, you start thinking, what if this, what if this, what if this, and it paralyzes you. Okay. So when Elise asked us to come together and put this book together, I wasn't sure. But then I thought about it, and I've learned to listen to my spirit. And I said, okay, I'm going to take one of my erotic stories, and this is exactly how I felt. If I'm going to be a quality writer, I should be able to take a story that was meant for sexual satisfaction and rework that somebody else could get the same feeling from the book without the sex. So I decided to take one of my stories called The Choice and turn it into a different type of story, a love story. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to rework this and I'm going to submit it. And once I hit send, it's not on me anymore. And that's what I did. In 2009, I sat down and said, you know what? I'm going to send Sister Gabriel this story, and whatever she wants to do with it, she tells me no, it is what it is. Well. And Elise Gabriel, who is the leader of the Soul Brothers, that's who we're called. Lady E is what I call her, is that she saw something in my writing and said, okay, I'm gonna accept it. So I got word from her that my story was going to be accepted. And the funny thing, and she may not know this, but I'll say it anyway. She had said, I wasn't sure where you were going with your story. And then when I read the whole thing, I got it. And she said, and people are going to like this. And let me tell you why that's super important, guys, and why you should always pull the trigger and let somebody, good or bad feedback, in this case, it happened to be good, was that she publishes books like I did. I had only one. She had many books at the time. But she does not have to waste words. And I want you to understand this. Often the people that you are trying to get close to do not have to waste words with you. You're coming to them to try to better yourself. They're trying to do business with you because it betters their position, but their position is already in place. So they don't have to waste words with you. So when they give you compliments, and I've seen this happen, where people will get the compliment and literally poo-poo it because they're listening to themselves than the person talking to them, myself included. I've done that in the past in other areas. But in this particular case, I was like, wow, really? And she was like, yes, I like this story, and I think this is going to be pretty good. Okay. So now this is the first time that I've ever been a part of an anthology. So I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. So the book comes out. I want to show it to you. Here it is. Soul of a Man. All right. Outstanding book, outstanding cover. And let me tell you something, a little something about this book right here, right? There's 13 of us, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of us. 14 men of color. 14 men of color called together to write stories, basically from the heart. Now, let me tell you why this opened up doors for my work. Let me tell you why. I'm actually doing it right now. Having only written poetry, and I sold a truckload of poetry books, and I'm known at the time, I was known for my poetry, but I've always been able to speak. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. And I will give all the information on where you can get the books and towards the end of the video. Appreciate the comment. And so I'd always been known for my poetry, but I've always been able to speak. I've always been able to carry myself in a room. So what Lady E gave me, and again, I want you to pay attention, guys. What she gave me was an opportunity to run my mouth, because now I have the other authors that are here with some outstanding stories in here besides my own. So I could talk about them and I didn't have to talk about me. So automatically I got 13 other pieces of content besides my own, besides the experience of being in the book. But here's the caveat. 2009, we go on to win an award. Anthology of the Year. So Lady E pulled it off. Soul of a Man was a 2009 Anthology of the Year. I am now an award-winning author. You know why? Because if you're part of the book and the book wins an award, you are award-winning author. So 2009, because Elise Gabriel saw something more in me than I saw in myself, but I was brave enough to send it to her. We, the Soul Brothers, and well, Elise Gabriel's won a ton of awards. I love her to death. We became the best anthology. Okay. That then opened the door for me to keep writing, because then I wrote my second book, From Gigolo to Jesus, which now became my biggest selling book, because now that gave me more motivation to write the actual story behind the man that wrote the poetry book. And my first poetry book was called A Man in Transition, but it was in poetry form about how I transformed my life. So now, with my wife's suggestion, I wrote my second book, and it was very successful. Featured in Ebony magazine back there over my left shoulder. And we talk about a whole lot of things, as well as I was accepted by Black Expressions Book Club, featured in Ebony, Essence, and Jet at the time. And I had first signed my first book club deal where they give you like $1,000 up front, and they sell the book all over the world, and you get residuals. You get checks for basically just going to the post office. You don't have to sell the books. You don't have to do nothing. You just sell the rights to them to go ahead and sell it. They change it into a hardcover, and they pay you when they make money. So I was like, okay, this is not too bad. So at that point, here's the thing. So 6 years passed, right? Okay. So now Lady E says, you know what? I think we need to do this again. Now, she is a publisher, Peace in the Storm Publication. Check her out. And I have no problem promoting other folks. Let me tell you why. We're supposed to. There's so much out there. There's no reason to try to keep it all to yourself. And why wouldn't I promote what she does when, because she gave me a chance, it actually worked out perfectly. Now, 2015, 6 years later. Oh, 1 second. Almost forgot. Okay, let's do this now. Okay, almost forgot. So I'm skipping over 2012. Let me show you how gracious Elise is and why I love to do business with her. And anytime she called me, I'm ready. So I told you, 2009, I become an award-winning author due to Elise's vision, right? Okay. Now, Elise has never had a problem with giving back. Why? Because when I created an anthology, this is actually the second one, a poetic anthology. The first one was Wordplay 1. Actually, I don't have any copies of the book on me. I would have it here to show you. But in Wordplay 2, I came and I asked Elise, I said, hey, would you be willing to write some poetry for me, for an anthology that I'm creating? And I used the format that she gave. And so in 2013, Wordplay 2, The Foundation of Soul, this book has 13 poets, all writing 12 different pieces on the definition of soul. And I'll give you an example of some of those things. And I'm super proud of this book, because when I asked folks to come together, they actually did that. And Elise was one of them. So the essence of soul, self-reflection, the heart, man, woman, child, life and death, human nature, money, power, respect, sex versus love, spirituality, the almighty, light versus dark. And all of them came together, and Elise is one of those authors. And so she gave me the opportunity to now put my stuff out there with her written word in here. And this is an outstanding book. We actually won an award in Europe, and I was featured on a European poetry network where they were overly impressed with the book, and they were overly impressed with the pieces. And again, I will give you my website where you can purchase the books. Now I'm going to tell you this. Go to my website. I know some of you are going to jump off and go to Amazon. You can if you like, but Jeff Bezos takes a big chunk from authors. If you can, buy it from their website if you feel comfortable. But that's a whole nother live for another day. I don't promote Amazon, but I am on it. I'm everywhere books are sold. But I'm just going to tell you, because Amazon holds authors up. But that's another conversation another day. I don't want to, no negativity today. So that's 2012. So Elise returns the favor for me. We win an award. Now you see what's going on here. God returns gifts. And because of what she gave me, what I gave her, she gave me back. And this, again, keeps the connection between us something great. And the beautiful thing about when you work with like-minded folks and other talented folks, you start to see their vision, and you realize not only is it something that you want to be a part of, you actually start to see how it benefits you, even though the vision is somebody else's. That's the reason why you should have these conversations. Creative minds is a wonderful gift from our creator. Yes, sir, Jerry. Yes, without question. Okay. So now 6 years passed from 2009, right? Elise puts out the call again. This time, whoa, Soul of a Man 2, Make Me Wanna Holler. Book 2 of the series. Book 2 now goes from 14 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different authors of color discussing what makes up a brother of color. What are the things that we are connected to? What are the things that we love? What are the things that move us? And she had no restrictions. She said, make it happen. But here's the beautiful thing about this book, right? Now, not only did she add more authors, right? I love the covers, by the way. Let me hold those two up. And I'm going somewhere with this. Let me hold these two up because you need to see these. And very simple covers, but here's the thing that I love that Elise does. Do you see that every author's names are featured? That is something that I made sure on the anthologies that I created. I did the same thing. She makes sure that your name is there. So when you are selling the book, you can point to your name. That's me right there. Look, KL Belvin. That's me right there. And here I am right there. There I am right there. KL Belvin. Let me tell you how important that is. When you have your books on the table and somebody comes to pick it up, and they're always going to look at the front cover first. When you can say, or they go, that's you? Yeah, that's me. Or that they see your whole signage and then they see your name, they make a connection. So you guys who are creating anthologies and you put your picture and you're getting no shine. And if you're wondering, there she goes right there. And I'm glad that she placed the picture there. But if you notice, she placed the picture on the back. She placed her picture out of the way. On both of the covers, if you noticed, it's about who the book is written for. For you can see it's of men of color, by men of color, but it's for everybody in terms, especially the sisters love the book. But she didn't, and her name is on the front, but not larger than the other names. That drives me crazy when you create a book for somebody and you put your name bigger than the person whose book it is. I always find that disrespectful, but I know a lot of people do that. Hey, I'm not trying to step on no toes, but I'm not really worried about if you get offended by it because I find it disrespectful that you'll create a book for somebody and then you turn around and put your name all over it. So why would you take away from the person who's writing? Because if you have a name that people know, people start to think it's your book. Elise didn't do that. She never does that. And I love that. Now, yes, and actually she says on this one, compiled by award-winning publisher Elise Gabriel. But look where her name is, at the bottom. Look right here, all of us right here. Now, this book right here, here's a beautiful thing. We were in the running for Anthology of the Year. We didn't win. We didn't win, but we were in the running. So you know what that tells you? The dream was still solid. 6 years later, we were in the category of Anthology of the Year. We didn't win. I don't know who won. I don't pay attention to who beats me, other than coming back for them. So in 6 years, 2 books, 14, 17 authors, right? Okay. Now, I told you to like this, share this, and I told you to tag 3 people. Why did I tell you 3 people? Okay, here's the thing. Coming this fall, 6 years later, book 3, Soul of a Man, I Can't Breathe. Third book. And I'm a part of that too. So I've been here from all 3 of these books. This one right here is going to be strong. Back to 13 authors, or not back to, but 13 authors, 13 men of color. But this time we're speaking about the things that we see going on in this country, the things that we see going on to men of color. And if you have not seen the cover, it's on my page, and you can just go by my Facebook page or my Instagram. Instagram, Keith KL, actually Instagram from Gigolo to Jesus. If you go to Facebook, it's Keith KL Belvin. The cover has a mask. 3 brothers, first of all, 1 center and 2 to the side. Brothers wearing a mask. On the mask, it says, I Can't Breathe. Soul of a Man, Part 3, I Can't Breathe. Now, let me tell you something. The title alone should tell you something. But I have not had a chance to read the other brothers' stories, but I know they're going to bring it because they always do. And the reason why I know this book is going to touch people just like the other 2 did is because, 1, I know the person producing it. I know what I brought to the table. And every time I've had a chance to write in a book like this, I don't play because, 1, I know because of the other authors. It's like when you come into a room and you see other all-star talent, you start saying, okay, I got to prove I belong here. That's how I felt with book 1. I said, it's an all-star team, but I felt like I got to prove that I'm here. So it pushed me to keep writing. And then with book 2, it was the same thing. So it ain't going to be no different with book 3. But let me tell you something. The reason why I'm excited is because right now, with everything going on here in the U.S., with all the problems that are going on between people of color and police and everything else, and the back cover has an American flag wrapped around somebody's mouth. Ooh, man, listen. It's been a while since I've got excited about a literary project like this. And I have my own. I'm actually redoing my book From Gigolo to Jesus, and I just saw my new cover. Oh, I still want to show it, but I can't. I got to hold off. So I'm redoing my book From Gigolo to Jesus because I'm resetting things. But let me tell you this, and I will be teaching a course on how to leverage your anthology position, because here's what I didn't tell you. From book number 1, if you were paying attention, I said my story was The Choice. It's a love story, right? But if you listen to me, my 5th book was called what? The Choice, a love story. So I took my story from that was in that book and created my own book. And I've already done it before. My 3rd book, A Lukewarm Saint, was a story that was in a failed anthology. Again, that will remain nameless. And I created my own story. That is one of the things that you could leverage, is by being a part of an award-winning anthology, a award-winning collective. You then can pull your story out. Most time you should wait a year. You know what? I'm not going to get into the particulars of that. I'll tell you, but you should wait a year. I'll give you that little caveat. When I create the course, and if you want it, reach out to me. We can talk about it. I might even accelerate it. You should always wait at least a year. Give the publisher that you gave your story to. Yes, you still own the rights to your story if you signed your contract the right way. Well, that's another thing I'm going to cover in the course. Because did you sign the right contract? Did you know what to sign? Elise Gabriel's never been a problem, has never had a problem with that with me. When she sends out the contracts, anything that I don't agree to or whatever, I change it, I send it back. We've never had a problem. We've never had any run-ins with contracts, and we've done business. And when we haven't agreed, that's cool too. She's fantastic at that point. Because when you're going to do business with somebody, it's like a family relationship. You're not always going to see eye to eye, but as long as you can be respectful and keep your eye on the vision, you're great. And let me tell you this last thing before I get ready to close out, because I see it's almost a half an hour after the hour. Let me tell you why something that Elise said moved me. When Elise put the thought out last year, she said, hey guys, with everything going on in the country, I think it might be time for the Soul of a Man series again. And I said, hey, just tell me when. I'm ready. And one of the other soul brothers, Maurice Gray Jr., my dude from here in Delaware, he said the same thing. Just tell me. And Maurice Gray has been in all 3 as well. When Elise said, Keith, I couldn't see doing book 3 without you being a part of it. Let me tell you why that blew me away. Was because this is the same woman that gave me a chance back in 2009. Who, when I wrote my story, wasn't exactly sure where I was going with it, but knew that there was something there. And now, 12 years later, says, I couldn't see doing it without you being a part of it. And again, as I said to you all before, A person that's on a certain level does not have to waste words. So when they share something like that, it's your almost natural instinct to downplay it and go, I don't want to take the compliment. No, take it. Take it, absorb it, run with it, because that is the way God speaks to you. With all the writing that I've done, I've gotten accolades, I've gotten awards, I got I got 4 degrees on the wall and all of that. It is the things you cannot buy that means so much to me. It is when somebody offers you a compliment when they don't have to. When somebody offers you an honest compliment, because when somebody can see your talent and see your worth and see your value, that's a beautiful thing. So shout out to Lady E for telling me that, and it just, again, gave me life, and I'm going to do what I can. Coming this fall, Soul of a Man 3, I Can't Breathe, a very powerful part of this series. And I'm going to tell you why. One, you should get these other 2 books. And I'm not big on saying, hey, buy these books. I'm not going to say that right now. I'm going to say, if you have not read these 2 books first, you should before you read this 3rd one. You need to understand. And I want to just give you a little something. I want to show you something, right? Look at the first book, and they're available on my website. I'll give you all that information in a second. Look at the first book, right? You see the blue, you see the black, okay? You see the brother on the cover, right? Okay. Now, 6 years later, you see the cover is black. You see the face is a little more menacing. You can see the trouble. You can see the pain. You can see the anger in the face. And the title is Make Me Want to Holler. And then when you see the 3rd, which the face is, you can see the pain. You can see the anger. And now I Can't Breathe. If you pay attention to all 3 books, you will actually see the plight of men of color in this country. You will see how it went from being blue to black. And it doesn't mean that the blue meant everything was okay when this book was born, because men of color have been catching it in this country for a long time, actually around the world. But I'm talking in the literary sense, in Elise's vision, which I have. I see it, I get it, I love it. Is that when you look at where she started with book 1, and you look at where we're at with book 3, you will see that she has been tapping into an energy that has been surrounding men of color that needed to be released and will be released. I know, because I am one of those men. I am one of those men that through my pen, through my thoughts, helped give a glimpse of what a man of color can be, is, and will be. And all the other brothers that are in both of these books and in this 3rd one has done the same thing. And that will speak to so many people. Now, let me take you to church real quick. If you remember the day of Pentecost, if you're a Christian, if you're not, don't worry about it, I'm going to tell you. There's a story that talks about in the day of Pentecost, burning tongues came down and touched the disciples, and they all started speaking in tongues. Now, you may go, where is he going with this? Rock with me. When they went outside, all the disciples endowed with the Holy Spirit started talking. And it said that every person in the group that was watching, hundreds of people, maybe thousands, heard what each disciple that they were connected to was saying in their language. So everything that was being said was being heard by those that needed to hear it, because in the story, it says that some of the people on the side were watching and they thought that the 12 were drunk. And they said, why are they out drinking in the middle of the afternoon? That's how hard they was going, but couldn't be heard by them. So this book, or these books, may not resonate with everybody, and they're not designed to. But all 3 of these books will speak to exactly who they were meant to speak to. And I know this because they've spoken to me. I know this because I know many of the men who have written to be in these books. And when you can write 3 hardcore books, no sex, no overt violence, and none of the stereotypical stuff that normally men of color are pushed into. When a man of color has the freedom to say what he wants to say about how he feels, it comes out in the stories that he creates. That is the power of this series. So if you have not read book 1 and 2, now let me tell you how you can get them. You can go to my website, Braven Publishing. It's actually back on the wall if you can see it. Bravin Publishing, that's Bravin. You see it right there. You can see it right here too. That's my counseling, my consulting firm as well. Bravin Publishing, BravinPublishing.com. BravinPublishing.com. Go to my store. Book 1 and book 2 will be there. As we get closer to the fall, I will start pre-orders. I'm not sure when Lady E tells me the date that she's dropping the book. I will come out weeks, probably months ahead, depending the time. And I will give you an opportunity to pre-order the book at a discounted price because I want you to have it. And then what I want you to do right now is I want you to let folks know they got to get book 1 and 2. Because I want you to feel and get it. I want you to understand what we're doing here. I want you to understand why this book won an award. I want you to understand why we was in the running. We didn't win. Why book 2 was in the running, because book 3 is going to be a landslide. Now, whether we win an award or not, that's okay. Awards are great. I don't stress that. What I stress is that I have seen myself. I have had people come back to me and say, yo, I can't stop reading it. I gave it to my son. I gave it to my daughter. Hey, I'm so happy that you gave me book 2 because, oh my God, I got them both. They're sitting right on my desk right now. I've seen it. I've heard it. No cap, as the kids say. So I don't know who needed to hear this today. And I don't know what you're waiting on, but come by my website. I got you. Tell you what, if you're watching, you're going to get a discount code. I'm going to give it to you right now. You know what? Let me see which discount code I'll give you. Tell you what, if you're going to get both books, and that's what you have to do, I'm going to give you 20% off if you buy both books. Here's the discount code. Bravin Pub. BRAVINPUB. It only works if you get 2 books. Bravin Pub. If you get both books, you will get 20% off. Bravin Pub. You get a 20% discount code. And I'll make that available. You have until 6 o'clock today. So that way, if you want to get off from work, if you happen to be watching from work and you can't make any purchases from work and you can't use your cell phone, I don't know how you're watching me though, but okay. You have until 6 o'clock tonight. 6 o'clock tonight, and then I will not be able to use that code. Bravin Pub. If somebody is watching, you can put that in the chat. BRAVINPUB. If you get both books, you get 20% off. My gift to you for watching me today. All right. As well as, Wordplay 2. And that's 2 or more books. So if you want to get all 3, you still get 20%. And Wordplay 1 is on the website as well. Wordplay 1, that's actually my last published poetry work. My last published poetry is in Wordplay 1. Words Are Our Canvas. That's the title of the anthology. Wordplay 1. Words Are Our Canvas. And that is my last published poetry work in the poetic anthology. Wordplay 2, Foundation of Soul, is the one that Sister Gabriel is in, as well as 12 other authors. 13 poets from 10 different states, writing on 12 different subjects connected to the word soul. Outstanding book. I wish that did better. Only because the world wasn't ready for a poetic anthology. I don't think they knew what to do with it. I did, though. So I'm going to get ready to go. And I pray that this has helped you, gave you some entertainment, and gave you something to think about. I will wait. I actually shout out to Chef Danielle. She ordered a couple of the books, and shout out to a couple others who ordered a couple of the books already to get ready for book number 3. But again, I'm here. You know, if you want the books, reach out. And if you're interested in knowing more about my other books, they're on my website. And I'm here to talk. Now, I'm not talking about the counseling today, but I would be amiss if I didn't. I'm also a crisis counselor, which means if you are struggling and you need somebody to talk to, reach out. This is what I do when I'm not writing. I'm here to help. That information is on my website too. I'm here to help you, okay? But I'm not going to get into the counseling. This is about the literary stuff today. And you will be hearing more about From Gigolo to Jesus because, again, I'm super excited. That is my memoir. I have a new cover. I'm rewriting the book. I have a whole program everything that's going to be connected to it. And I am creating a course on how to leverage anthologies and how to actually turn that into some outstanding opportunities for you to make money for yourself. Okay. But again, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, award winning author, educator, and more importantly, a man who understands that collaborations is a very positive thing. Shout out to you, Elise Gabriel. Check out Elise Gabriel and Peace in the Storm Publications on Facebook, on Instagram. Anywhere the books are sold, you will find Elise Gabriel's books. All her information and all of the authors that she has worked with is on her page and her website. Make sure you check her out. I have no problem supporting other people because when we support others, we are actually opening up the door for the support to come back. You have to believe that. And if you do, watch how God works. All right, let me see what I got going on here. Do I have any music here? I need a song or something. I'm not sure what I got here. Let me see what I got. Oh, yeah, here we go. God, Piece of My Love. Oh, man. All right, I'm not going to play that too long because I don't need them booting my